Welcome to Common Sense. Common Sense is a series of shows that feature interviews with very interesting people so that we can get to know who they are, what they do, and what makes sense to them and what doesn't. I'm Rudy Breglia, and today I'll be interviewing the competent, caring, and experienced author, small business owner, former Ohio representative, and now Ohio Senator Christina Roegner.
That's correct.
I almost stumbled there. Who is a current candidate for Ohio Treasurer.
That's right.
Senator, welcome to Common Sense, and thank you for your service.
Rudy, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Okay, well, thank you. Please start us off with your background. Where were you born? Where have you lived? What brought you to this part of Ohio?
Yeah. So I was born in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay. We won't hold that against you.
Thank you. I went to, then I grew up mostly in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, and I moved to Ohio when I was about 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
I think I was 18. Yeah, my parents, I had just gone to college. I was going to college back in Boston at Tufts.
Okay.
And my dad's job changed, and so they moved to Hudson, Ohio. And so I went to visit them there from college. I loved it. And so then after I graduated from college, I did work as a mechanical engineer for several years with Westinghouse, traveled around the country. Went back, got my MBA from the Wharton School of Business.
Okay.
Yeah, and Philadelphia, that's at the University of Pennsylvania. Went to work at McKinsey Company. It's a management consulting firm. Met my husband there, and we've been married for almost 30 years. My husband and I, when we had our first child, moved to Hudson to be close to my parents,
All right.
so we could raise our kids, with the grandparents right down the road.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was really nice. And so I've been in Hudson now almost 25 years.
Okay. Well, I've never met anyone who had roots in Finland. Can you speak Finnish? I mean,
only a little bit. Yes, my mother was born in Finland, born in Helsinki, and grew up there, during the Second World War. And then after the Second World War, her parents immigrated here to the United States, and they came here legally. They learned English. They got to work and built the American dream. And I tell you what, my mom is one of the most patriotic people you're ever going to meet. I mean, she loves the United States of America with a passion.
That's great.
Because she knows what it's like elsewhere. So do I speak Finnish? A little bit. I mean, hyvä päivä, it's good day. I can count to 10. I have a basic vocabulary. I can get by, but I would not say I'm, by any stretch of the imagination, fluent in Finnish.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, how did your ownership of the language lodge evolve?
Yeah, so that's actually, it's a good lead on from your last question. So my mother obviously is fluent in Finnish, and when growing up, she thought it was important that we all speak English, which it is, obviously. That is first and foremost.
Very helpful.
It is very helpful, but she didn't speak much Finnish to me at all. So as I grew up,
back.
Yeah, she did. So I realized as I got older, it's helpful if you want to learn a second language. You want to do it when you're younger. Before the age of 10, I think studies have shown. So I wanted my children to be bilingual. I wanted them to be able to speak German and Spanish, and learn and be exposed to other languages as well. And so there wasn't a program in our area, so I just started one, and it's called the Language Lodge. It taught young children foreign language through full immersion. It's just through games and arts and crafts. And I started it, ran it for 7 years, and then I did end up selling it when I was elected to the Ohio House of Representatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
What led you to pursue a public service career? Did you have a role model someplace in there?
All right, so now it's time to talk about my dad.
All right.
So no one in my family had ever been in elected office before. My dad, and I told you we had moved to Hudson to be close to my mom and dad.
Understand.
Yeah, so my dad had just retired, and he was complaining to my mom about how government wastes too much money at the federal government, the state government, and local government. And this was back in 2003. And my mom said, get off the couch and do something about it. So he ran for Hudson City Council.
Wow.
Knocked on every door in his little ward, and he won. And so then anytime there was I started really paying attention to the Hudson Hub, and looking at all the votes. And whenever there was a 6-1 vote, that was usually my dad on the short end of the stick, and it had to do with spending money that didn't need to be spent. So I threw my hat in the ring too, and was elected to Hudson City Council. So that's how I got involved.
What advice would you give someone who aspires to have a career in public service?
Oh, absolutely. Please do it. You know,
Yeah,
we need good people at all levels of government. I mean, federal, state, local, you know, even the school boards are so important, city councils. Please step forward. It is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice not only the part of the candidate, but their family too. But we need it. I mean, our country is so strong because good people step forward to run.
Wonderful. Was some of your experience being on the Hudson City Council like what you experienced as a state representative, only on a smaller scale? Can you do that?
It's a much smaller scale. So on Hudson City Council, there's 7 members. And in the Ohio House of Representatives, when I was there, there are 99. And in the Senate now, there's 33. So it is like herding cats at times, you know, because you have an idea and to yourself, you're like, this is a great idea. Why doesn't everyone agree with me? But you have to get the majority of people to vote with you to get things done. So over my time in the legislature, I've learned how to be effective that way. But the similarity between city council and the state legislature is that you're making a difference in the lives of people. And that to me is so rewarding. That's why I love what I do.
Wonderful, wonderful. How long have you been a senator, and what are your basic responsibilities?
Yeah, so I've been a senator now for 7 years. I'm in my 8th year. So we have 2 4-year terms. The basic responsibilities are, well, let me back up. There's 33 senators, as I mentioned,
Right.
and Ohio is 12 million people, so and the districts are based on population. So some districts are really, really large if they're rural, and others are more compact if they're urban. But our responsibilities are to, number one, enact laws for the state of Ohio. That is the legislature, it's what we do. And there's also a lot of work in constituent services. So if people have questions about taxes or, you know, Medicaid or whatever it might be, you know, they can always contact our office. And so we're just a point of contact at the state.
Okay, that's great. What legislation have you introduced that you're most proud of?
That's like asking me to pick between my
Tough.
children. That's a hard thing.
Pick a couple.
A couple. All right, a couple. So in no particular order, most recently, I've been leading the charge on occupational licensure reform. So the best way to describe this is like, you know, you have a driver's license and it's
True.
good in Ohio, you get it in Ohio, and say you wanted to drive to Florida. Imagine if you had to, in each state, stop and get
have a license.
Kentucky license, a Tennessee license, all the way down to Florida, right? How cumbersome and silly that would be, but that's what people that have occupational licenses had to deal with.
True.
So if you're a nurse in Kentucky and you wanted to come to Ohio, you just couldn't do it that easily. You had to get relicensed in Ohio.
A pharmacist.
Yeah, so now what you're seeing is reciprocity for these licenses. They're called compacts.
Okay.
And so I've been leading the charge in Ohio to join Ohio to all these licensure compacts, and people love it. And it's because it makes a difference in the lives of folks. So that's one of the, but that one topic is like 14 different bills that I've done for 14 different professions, but I'll squeeze that into one. Then also, I've really been proud of the fact that I sponsored a bill to cut regulations by 30% in the state of Ohio, 10% a year.
Great.
We want to be business friendly. We want businesses to be able to operate so that they can hire more people. A rising tide lifts all ships. And then I think I'm really proud of a lot of the work I've done as a chair. I chair higher education, and I don't know if you have questions about this later, but I chair higher ed. I chair general government, and so I've been dealing with a lot of election reform bills, getting biological males out of girls' sports a couple years ago. We got that done.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we got DEI out of higher education. So a lot of, I guess the third bucket would be my work as a chair of different committees.
Tell us about your recently sponsored legislation to help the current Ohio Treasurer Robert
Robert
Sprague.
Yeah. So, yeah, Robert Sprague is a current treasurer, and his office came to me and said, listen, there's a lot of changes we'd like to see, modernizations, things, just common sense stuff. And so it's Senate Bill 300, that's a number, and we have it introduced. I was going to give sponsored testimony out this week, but committees were canceled because of the snowstorm. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll be getting that off the ground. But it does several things, like it allows the treasurer to invest in one extra level of debt securities. It increases efficiencies for when things have to be paid, that you don't have to go through so many agencies. It can go right into the fund where it's supposed to go. So it's mostly a cleanup bill. It also, although there are some big provisions in there too, like it does say that money that's in these that the treasurer is a custodian of, for example, the pension systems like police and fire, teachers, etc., that money belongs to those people. It does not belong to the state. It cannot be considered what's an active investment, meaning the state can't dip into it and use this money for state purposes. So I think it's a very good thing. It's very important because those people have worked hard for their money, and it's theirs, and they should keep it.
Okay. What are the most challenging aspects of being a senator?
Some of the most challenging aspects? Well, it's challenging and fun at the same time, is that we deal with so many different topics.
Okay.
I love it because it keeps the work forever interesting. But
Okay.
in 1 minute, you could be talking about Medicaid. The next minute, you're talking about school funding, or then you talk about libraries or occupational licensure and budgets. I was literally on talking about the capital budget that's coming up here, a couple hours ago, and here we are now. So it's never dull.
Okay.
I love it.
You never know what you're going to get when you answer the phone.
That's right. That's right.
What surprised you about being a senator?
Well, let me back up for a second. What surprised me at first about being a representative, because I was a state representative for 8 years before I became a senator, was just how much work it takes to get a bill through.
Yeah.
Right? And you see the cartoon, I'm a bill on Capitol Hill, and of course I'm in Columbus, not in DC, but it's a lot. It's a process. You have to get it drafted, you have to have interested party meetings, then you have to get it through committee, and that's a whole thing in and of itself. Then you have to get it through the House floor and then to the Senate, and the process starts over. And you have to get this all done within 2 years, because if you don't get a bill done in 2 years, it's done, it's over. So so it surprised me just how much work it is, but I'm proud to say that I've been incredibly effective at that, and I would say I'm probably one of the most productive legislators, certainly in the last 8 years, in terms of getting solid legislation passed. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
That's great. Why do you want to be Ohio's treasurer?
I want to be Ohio's treasurer because Ohio needs to have someone in that office that they can trust, that shares their values, and that has the experience and background to do the job well. You are the watchdog of the Ohio Treasury. You're the chief investment officer, and I know I bring the skills and the background necessary to do that job well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what experience best prepared you for being a treasurer?
It's a combination of things. I mean, so I have my MBA from the Wharton School of Business in finance.
Wow.
It's the #1 MBA program in the country right now, and certainly it's known throughout the world for finance. I worked at McKinsey in corporate finance, did a lot of merger and acquisition work, and did some work in the banking sector as well. My work in the state legislature, I've been through, this is my 8th General Assembly, so I've been through 8 operating budgets, capital budgets, and so I know how government works.
You've done it all.
So no, not at all, but when you take all that and you add it up, you're like, hey, treasurer makes sense. Treasurer makes sense.
Okay. What characteristics should voters be looking for in a candidate for treasurer?
Oh, thank you. So, first of all, you need to have the financial background. So I'd want to make sure that someone has, at least a master's in finance to do the job well. But then also, an experience in the legislature. But most importantly, you want to have someone there that has integrity and honesty,
right,
and has no hint or shadow of corruption around them in any sense of the word.
Understand.
Yeah.
What would be your short and long-term goals when you're a treasurer, and how would you accomplish them? Now, I know that's a really big question.
It's a big, broad question, but no, it's a good one. First and foremost, a treasurer needs to make sure that you are safeguarding the people's money.
Right.
Right? You need to invest it wisely, conservatively. Get the best return you can, still being conservative, right? So that is first and foremost, number one, without a doubt. But then beyond that, I mean, the treasurer has a platform by which they can do certain things. For example, one thing that I'm passionate about, and we're trying to get worked out in the General Assembly now, is with unclaimed funds.
Right.
I'd like to see the unclaimed funds. Right now it's in the Department of Commerce, just mostly sitting there passively, right? I'd like to see that moved over to the treasurer's office. And then as the next treasurer, I can be very proactive in trying to reunite people with their money. If your listeners have not done this already, very important. They need to get online, Google Ohio unclaimed funds.
Okay.
Ohio unclaimed funds. Google that. Put in your last name and your first name. Hit enter, and they might be surprised what they find. Do it for themselves. Check for their friends, neighbors, relatives, and they'll make a lot of people real happy.
I've done that.
Yeah, have you? Did you find
it's
anything?
made me very happy.
Oh, good.
Very
Okay,
happy.
great.
What issues need to be addressed soon in the current treasurer's office? What's first to do, essentially?
Well, as I mentioned before, first and foremost is to make sure the people's money is safeguarded.
Okay.
And our previous treasurers have done a very good job at that. I mean,
Okay.
you don't ever want the treasurer's office to be in the news. Right? If it's in the news, it's a bad thing.
That's a problem. Yeah.
So that is first and foremost. In terms of things that need to be addressed now, I'm working on that with the treasurer's office.
Right.
Senate Bill 300, I mean, if people are interested, they can look it up. Go to the Google Ohio Legislature, search under bills, Senate Bill 300, and they can get all the details right there. It's a big bill, very comprehensive.
Okay. How many people work in the treasurer's office now, and what's their budget?
Oh, that's a great question. So it's over, I want to say it's about 100, 120. I know Treasurer Sprague has done a good job. He's actually reduced the size of his staff.
Okay.
And he's reduced the size of his budget too. So it's changing. So I'll have to get back to you on that exact number, because again, he's being very fiscally responsible and reducing that, constantly.
Well, you're a staunch fiscal conservative.
100%, yes.
Okay, and what changes would you make to reduce the treasurer's budget? You already kind of talked about that.
Yeah,
already.
I mean, so like even when I was on Hudson City Council, one of the first things we did was we cut the size of Hudson City Council budget by 10%. Since I've been in the legislature, we have been reducing taxes. I mean, since I've been there. When I started in the legislature, it was taxes were over 7%, 9 brackets. Now we are down to 2.75, from 7 down to 2.75%, and we are at a flat tax now in 2026. So I would bring that same fiscal discipline to the treasurer's office and just say, listen, is there anywhere else that we can be efficient in, with our spending?
Get the job done.
Get the job, but we have to be able to get the job done well. Yeah.
Okay. What are the most valuable experience from your service as a senator that you'll be able to apply to the treasurer's job?
As a senator, well, I have relationships that I've built through being a senator, but from the Speaker of the House, the Senate President, all of the reps and the senators. I'm able to pick up the phone and, and have conversations with them, both about the Treasurer's office and what I'm doing there. But if there's something happening in the legislature too, I would feel comfortable weighing in on that. And that's really invaluable, the networking.
Overall, how does the Treasurer's office serve the Ohio's residents? And you kind of talked about this a little bit.
Yeah. So again, first and foremost, safeguard the people's money, right? That's number one. But beyond that, the Treasurer's Office has several programs, and it's an exhaustive list, so I won't list them all, but just to give a few examples, like they have an Ag Link program. It's a link deposit program, so that farmers, when they have to take out loans for more equipment or whatever they might need, they go to the bank, and they would normally have to pay so much in interest payment or interest rates for that loan. The Treasurer's Office will deposit a CD there, and then the interest that CD earns offsets what the farmer would have to pay. So in a nutshell, the farmer will get much lower interest loans, if not interest-free loans in some cases, for what they need. And that's just ag, but there's also, they do a family forward program. So if you have families that want to, adopt, and there's a lot of expenses related to that.
Right.
Sometimes families have to take out loans for that. They have the same program for families. So those are just two examples of how the Treasurer's Office can really personally impact and help Ohioans.
Okay. How will you make Ohio Treasurer's activities more transparent?
I love this question. So when I was a freshman in the House, I want to say it was probably 2011, 2012, we voted on a bill to put Ohio's checkbook online. And so Ohio's checkbook is online, and that's great. So if you want to see how Ohio's money is spent, Ohio checkbook.
You can see that.
Right. Now there is a bill percolating in the General Assembly that would expand that, enhance the transparency, and take it to municipalities and schools. Right now, they're allowed to do it. Some do, some don't. This would say you need to put it online.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So there's full transparency, and everyone can see, how all of their money is being spent, at least, from a state and local level.
Okay. What are the current top financial challenges for the people of Ohio, and what are improvements you intend to make to meet those challenges?
Yeah. So I would say the biggest financial challenge that I'm hearing about and I've been traveling to all of our counties, of course, running for Treasurer of State. There's 88 counties in Ohio.
Yeah.
And I have to say, every single county I've been to, someone has brought up property taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, because property taxes, after COVID, like the valuations of houses went through the roof, and then
way up.
Property taxes are tied to valuation. And so people have seen property taxes go up 30%, 40, 50% in some cases.
Wow.
And it's tough because so many people are paying more now on their property taxes than they are in the interest and principal of their mortgage. And that's just not right. So we've been working on that in the legislature. We've passed several bills and provisions to try to provide some relief. I don't know, and I think they were all good that we did. To get into the weeds on that, we'd need a couple more hours. But let me say, I think it's great, but it wasn't enough. I'm still hearing we need more. And I agree, there needs to be more that needs to be done. You are seeing an initiative out there. People are collecting signatures to put on the ballot a provision that would make property taxes unconstitutional, and property taxes would go to zero. That's very easy to understand, zero, but then we've got townships, and how would they fund police and fire, and the services? Most of that money goes to the schools, and these are services that people rightfully expect.
Right.
So I believe the answer is somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And I think we're going to see, hopefully, there've been some conversations about a provision that would roll back property taxes to like pre-2019 levels when they were more reasonable. So we'll see what comes out of that. But that's something that we're working really hard on down in Columbus right now.
Important.
Yeah, it's an important one.
What can an Ohio treasurer do to stimulate business development? Tell us about Common Sense Initiative, House Bill 94.
Okay. So those are two separate things. So the Common Sense Initiative was a bill, it was House Bill 94, that I sponsored with the late, great Andy Thompson. He was another state representative, a dear friend of mine. And what that did is it says, we have so many rules and regulations in Ohio, and some make sense, but we want to make sure that when we look at a rule and regulation, that you've taken into consideration the impact on business. And it has to make common sense. So that's why it was nicknamed the Common Sense Initiative. But so now, ever since then in Ohio, whenever there's a new rule or reg proposed, they take into consideration what they call the fourth prong, and that's the business, aspect of it. How is it going to impact business climate? So I'm happy, because we want to be business friendly here in Ohio.
You bet.
Yeah, so that was a bill that I sponsored. Thankful that it was passed into law, and so that's been great. So that's one thing. But then in terms of the treasurer's office, you asked about that. The treasurer's office, can also help with loans to businesses and different projects. And I know
All
Treasurer Sprague has that. So if people are interested in that, that's also on the website.
Okay. What outstanding things are planned for your future and for Ohio's? This is to kind of look ahead a little bit.
Yes, these are all great questions.
I'm trying.
You're very good. So Ohio, we want Ohio to be the greatest state in the nation, and I think the work that we've done over the last decade and a half, we have moved Ohio up to be like the greatest state in the Midwest, which is awesome. In terms of regulations, our income tax climate. I mean, we're attracting businesses here. We want it to be a great place to raise a family, and it is. I've raised my 3 daughters here, and I love our Buckeye State. But we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep working until Ohio is the best state in the nation.
Okay. What campaign activities have you conducted, and what are your future campaign plans?
So I announced that I was running for treasurer of state almost a year ago. So this February, it'll have been a year. And since then, I have been traveling to all these different counties.
88.
This is 88. I haven't been to all 88 yet, but I will shortly. I think I've been to probably 65 or 70 at this point. I've been to a lot of county fairs and Lincoln Day dinners and picnics across the state. I meet with county commissioners and local elected officials, and I've loved traveling the state. It's been great now because my youngest daughter is in college, and so I'm an empty nester. We fostered 2 little kids too in 2024,
wow, nice.
And they've been reunited with their biological parents, and that was a blessing in and of itself, just to be able to be with those kids. But so I've a lot of campaign events to answer your question, and they will continue all the way through the primary and through the general election.
Okay, how are you funding your campaign?
Through donations, and I am just so incredibly grateful for people that have opened their hearts and their pocketbooks and have been so generous to give. And if people are interested in donating, it's ChristinaRoegner.com. There'll be a button there, hard to miss, a donate button. So I'm grateful for any support.
That'll appear on the bottom of the screen, so
awesome.
people will be able to look at that.
Thank you. Great.
What can Ohio voters do to help your campaign? Do you need volunteers?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things. So I mean, obviously, yes, volunteers are certainly appreciated. Putting up yard signs, hosting those would be great. The financial donations, and spreading the word, posting on social media, talking to their neighbors. But first and foremost, prayers. I just covered people's prayers, and because it's a lot of miles. I'm on the road a lot.
I would imagine
a lot.
so.
Yeah. So thank you.
How can voters get in touch with you? A phone number, email address,
Yeah.
that kind of thing?
So that would
and they'll appear.
Great. So yeah, I would love to hear from any of your listeners. Info at ChristinaRoegner.com is one. My personal email, it's Christina Roegner, and I'm sure you'll have it spelled out because that's a doozy to spell. ChristinaRoegner@gmail.com, and then my cell phone number, and I'll give you my personal cell, and people have been very respectful not to abuse that, but if it's important, I want to hear from them. 330-322-5325.
Okay, and your campaign's website address?
It's ChristinaRoegner.com.
Okay, well, the people of Ohio should be grateful that someone of your character and qualifications has decided to remain in public service. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Ruby, for interviewing me, for talking. I've enjoyed this time with you, and I thank you for all your listeners for taking the time to get to know the candidates as well.
Okay, and thank you for watching this show. Please give us feedback on the show. We'll answer any questions or concerns you have. And you can just use the emails at the bottom of the page. If you would like to appear, or you know an interesting person that would like to be on the show, please get us their contact information and we'll handle it from there. And remember, seatbelts save lives.